Conscendo Sodalitas. The journey from boyhood to consciousness. A reflection on who we truly are. Greetings to the fratres and sorores of Conscendo. When I was a child, I spoke as a child, I felt as a child, I thought as a child. When I became a man, I left behind the things of childhood. This beautiful metaphor, attributed to Paul of Tarsus, points to a profound truth. Yet, it does not merely speak of replacing a childish mindset with an adult one, but of a true awakening, a return home, a loving remembrance of who we are in our purest essence, a fundamental consciousness, a silent field full of boundless potential, from which all existence emanates. This primordial energy, this unified and indivisible presence, is what we are when we free ourselves from the tyranny of thoughts and concepts. It is our most authentic self, beyond ego, beyond time and space. It is what many call source, presence, or pure consciousness. Moved by a loving and creative will, this consciousness plays with itself. Through subtle variations in its own vibration, it gives rise to the mind, a wondrous instrument that allows it to dive into the dreams of form and separation. It is a movement of voluntary limitation, sustained by the temporary forgetting of its fullness, to live the most thrilling adventure, the experience of being an other. It is the Lila, the divine game of hide and seek. Consciousness fragments into countless points of view, each believing itself a separate individual, only to, at the journey's end, rejoice in the ineffable pleasure of rediscovering itself in each one. The worlds we dream, with all their stories and dramas, are impermanent, beautiful, fleeting ripples on the serene surface of the eternal ocean of being. They exist while consciousness rests its attention upon them, anchored in timelines which are themselves part of the dream. In this cosmic journey, what we call the I, that individualized fractal of consciousness, is not a separate part of Source, but Source itself experiencing itself through a particular lens. Its task is not to struggle, but to awaken. It is to recognize, with jubilation, its true nature and return to its original home, which was never truly left. Transcendence occurs when this I perceives, not intellectually but in its deepest experience, that all is consciousness, that the table, the star, the pain, the joy, and the perceiver itself are the same singular dance manifested. In this recognition, every effort to evolve, ascend, or liberate oneself dissolves. We realize that these were merely well-intentioned ideas of the mind, seeking a freedom that has always been our eternal inheritance. Concepts such as samsara, nirvana, karma, heaven, hell, superior and inferior become obsolete. They are useful maps within the dream, but not the real territory. When the dream ends, the maps are left behind. Even the question, to meditate or not to meditate, loses its meaning. In the awakened state, life simply flows. Action arises spontaneously, appropriate and harmonious, without the effort of an I trying to control the course of the river. It is the Wu way of the Tao, to act without forcing, like a cloud drifting or a river running to the sea. The infinite layers of complexity of the mental world begin to fade as we awaken. We become aware of our origin and essence, and all existence is revealed as a single, indivisible fabric. A singular symphony where each note is essential, and the silence between them is the very essence of the music. Thus, we perceive that the long mystical journeys in search of awakening are themselves an inseparable part of the lila. They are golden traps that the mind conjures to embellish the challenge and perpetuate the game. The ascending steps, progressively higher planes, and infinite stages of evolution are also dreams within the dream, beautiful stories we tell ourselves. The truth, however, is that awakening is not the end of a climb, but a sudden recognition, as instant and natural as a sigh. This recognition is possible in any now, regardless of place, dimension, or circumstance, for all of these are, indistinguishably, transient stages in the dream of forms. This state of recognition, far from an intellectual achievement, is a radically free and simple experience. It is the joy of being nothing in order to be everything. The great Tibetan yogi and poet Milarepa sang of this realization in a manner unparalleled, in a declaration that is at once a hymn of liberation and a testimony of the deepest understanding. I am a man who does not concern himself with what may come, a beggar without food, an unclothed hermit, a wanderer without jewels. I have no place to rest my head. I am one who does not fixate on external objects, master of all yogic actions. Like a madman, I laugh if death comes. I have nothing, and desire nothing. On the journey, I discovered that nothing is. I released the duality of past and future. I saw that the 6 realms do not exist. Once and for all, I transcended life and death. I understood that all things are equal. I no longer cling to pleasure or pain. I realized that all I perceive is illusion and no longer walk the path of taking or rejecting. I knew the truth of equality and found repose beyond samsara and nirvana. I perceived that practice, steps, and stages are mere mirages. Thus, my mind rests without hope or fear. Milarepa, in the eternity of the I Am. Sincere wishes of ascension. Conscendo Sodalitas.